And we're sealing this process, or we're creating this formula of how we use and connect with the universal waters by tapping into that galactic overtone tone of radiance. So when we're in that, when we allow ourselves to radiate and really, shine our light, that also helps to enhance us with the way that we radiate and share our frequency around us. And, we just putting out the frequency of what we're setting the intentions for, the way that we're navigating. And so the last statement, the second to last statement says, I am guided by my own power double. Guided by my own power of navigation. So by you setting the tone of how you want to navigate, that is guiding you in commanding the type of flow you need to operate in. And so with that, the last line, I am a galactic activation portal. You are a galactic activation portal. Us even being on this plasma is just one of those tools to help us connect and really tap into this energy. So when you're reading the affirmation at this point, where you see the dots, you will just go back and review the previous lines and think about your intentions and allow that energy to enter you so that you can really move forward and get those gems to be activated in how you want to command your flow. And so I created a one-liner to help us to hold that focus, which states, I am commanding my purified flow of life force to navigate. I am commanding my purified flow of life force to navigate. We are commanding our purified flow of life force to navigate. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe Yo. So, if you feel called to and open to, drop some tips or drop in the chat, how do you want to command your purified flow? How do you see yourself navigating? I could say for myself, it's like really tapping in and being present within my body. Sometimes as a nurturer, I'll be, so busy out here trying to do everything for everybody else that sometimes I forget about myself. In order for me to be able to do those things, I also have to make sure I'm operating in my purified flow of life force. Because I wouldn't want to project any of my ish on anyone else. So I got to make sure I am pure and clear in that before I provide to others. So I want to encourage you all to think of yourself in that way so you can also empower yourself in the way that you see yourself evolving. And so for us to get into the cosmic oracle reading, this is a breakdown to show us how to really interact with the different aspects of the Destiny Oracle. Remembering that the main focus, the main vibration that we're tapping into is commanding to empower our radiance. So we already talked about the focus can, which is to get into that purified flow state. We talked about allowing ourselves to focus on directing that energy through the guide, which is the red overtone earth. So as we're focusing on, commanding that flow, we want to direct it towards commanding the synchronicities so that we can evolve. And when we even look at the definition of a synchronicity, sometimes we, just want to call them coincidences, but no, it's some energy we put out there to even align with that experience showing up in our, external encounters, right? So we can also look at it from the reverse. The way that we feel, the way that we think, and how we speak, even the actions that we take, they all come together to produce certain synchronicities. And so when we're looking at the Destiny Oracle, think about different ways that you can show up in your emotions, the way that you're thinking, or the way that you process your emotions, the way that you process and, get into your thoughts, and, how all of that shows up through your actions based on how you see yourself evolving. So I would like to actually start today with the physical body, which is the white overtone dog. And this is the energy that the physical body is what gets materialized. So that is like through your actions, those external events. And so the white overtone dog is saying, command your loyalty to your heart space, to being in that love frequency, having that compassion, that loving kindness, and use that as the foundation to see different ways that you can evolve. So I want to ask all of you, like, what are you loyal to? How do you show that in the way that you act, the way that you talk, the way that you think? What are you? For myself, I'm loyal to love. I just want everybody to be loving and be happy, right? I want everybody to feel and be in their wholeness. And so through that, I check myself and make sure that I'm operating in that frequency. Even if I find myself drifting away from it, say I'm tapping more into that fear aspect. That's when I'm like, wait, hold up. And you will know if you're tapping into fears, because your nervous system will feel some type of way. Like you will really feel it in your body. So when we tap into our heart space, that helps us to regain that loyalty to that love frequency and start looking at ways that we can purify our flow in that. Okay. So I want to start off with that. So think about different ways that or different things you want to be loyal to in your navigation. Look at different ways that you could purify the flow of that, get out of that fear frequency, and back into your heart space. So now I will, let's see, talk about the mentality of it. So we have the blue overtone storm, and shout out to Neb Taharka because that is his kin. So we have the blue overtone storm in the mental body. The mental body is there to help us to empower our mindset, to overcome different challenges that we may encounter. So say you're having a challenge with being loyal to the way that you want to show up in your experience. We can use the blue overtone storm as a tool to help command the energy that we want to catalyze and put out there. So that also includes transforming the way that we're thinking about, whatever experience we're having. Like, say, for example, with me, I said I want to be loyal to, sharing, spreading love and making sure everybody's nurturing, right? Now, say that I have a moment where I end up spazzing out on somebody, right? And I'm like, oh, man, that's not how I want to show up. You know what I'm saying? So let me come back to myself. Let me purify my flow and look at what energy I actually want to put out there. So, for myself, one of the things that I do, I go sit down, meditate somewhere, just, I go somewhere to get some grounding, right? So I could come back to self. Then I think about how I showed up. How can I transform that energy? And so once I get that clarity, I'm focusing on now commanding that energy as my purified flow. And that's how I start to, rewire myself to come back differently. And even sometimes, I might have to step up and apologize for how I showed up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we don't get that opportunity. Sometimes we just change our actions. But, whatever you have to do to purify your flow, command the energy that you want to show up as, and operate in that. And so then down in the bottom to the position of our emotional body. This is the hidden, it's also known as the hidden occult, or our hidden power that fuels us. So going back to that synchronized perspective, or that mindset, the emotional body is the gas in the car. So just like the spirit guide would be the compass or our GPS, the emotional body is our gas. And so we have the yellow solar human, which is telling us to realize our wisdom. So that means to make our wisdom real. One, we got to recognize it, and then like, all right, I see where I messed up at, or I see how I need to purify myself, or I see what changes I want to make. So when we tap into that wisdom, that helps to influence our own free will to really operate in that frequency. So whatever it is for you that you're focusing on when it comes to where you currently are in evolving and what your goals are, realize the wisdom that you already have. that you embody. Be open to receiving new wisdom. Okay, so we don't want to be our own block in that. And so by doing all of that, when we put all of this energy together, it helps us to bond with our healing process so that we can operate in our wholeness and activate the life force that we want to navigate with. Ashe? You feel me? You feel me? Y'all with me? You with me? Ashe, I trust that you are. So that is the cosmic oracle reading of evolution for us on this plasma. And I just want to remind us of our one-line statement. I am commanding my purified flow of life force to navigate. So yes, trust yourself, trust your instincts, listen to your body. It's going to show you those answers. Okay, listen to your body, trust your body. Your body going to tell you, okay? And evolve those synchronicities. So with that, I send you all my love. May that you enjoy your creation in every moment of now. And I will be hollering at y'all in the chat because I'm already feeling the energy. So I know when HP get up on here, I already know. So I'm about to put my seatbelt on. May that you already been taking notes and continue to take notes as we move forward with aligning with the cycles. And so I love y'all and I'll holler at you later. Peace. Back to you, Brother Akil. Let me stop. Back to you. Peace, y'all.
Gratitude. Excellent, excellent, as always. Much appreciated. And let me do some shifting around over here real quick. And and y'all know what time it is? You know what time it is. We get to be graced with that wisdom. This wisdom, man, is HP takes this cosmology to some depths, and it's amazing. I really appreciate it, and it's so helpful. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to yield this mic and get this music going so we can hear her speak.
The high priestess of mimic who pulled me in. The high priestess of mimic who pulled me in. It's time we come together to raise our consciousness. Amen. The high priestess of mimic who pulled me in. Amen. Amen. The high priestess of mimic who pulled me in. Amen. It's time we come together to raise our consciousness.
All right. Great dawning. Great dawning. Am I being heard? If you all can just indicate in the chat if I am being heard. All right. All right. So greetings, great dawning, everyone. And welcome again to Aligning with the Cycles. As y'all know, we're doing it live. We're trying out something a little different. I kind of like it. We're going to Ashe, welcome. So yeah, so we just we gonna try this out for a while and see what happens. Is this easier for you guys? Is this easier for us to be live? Because we usually are behind the scenes. Y'all just let us know. We may keep it like this. So, we'll see. So, very excited to be here. I'm always excited, right? Just because I don't know, because I woke up, right? So, because it's, I don't know. But So yeah, give thanks, Brother Akil, for being our host, and being so dedicated, to presenting this information in the way that you do. Always, always. I love the way today I heard something uh, when he was talking about the difference between the Gregorian calendar and the 13 moon calendar, and he said that. The Gregorian calendar is like packaged food, right? So I really enjoyed that. I said, okay, all right, that's what I'm talking about. He said it's like packaged food, it's not or inorganic, and that the 13 moon calendar is, organic food, non-GMO, coming up out of the ground. All right. So, okay, that was my big fake. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. We can do that too. All right. So, as you know, we are here. We are in, right in the midst of the portals. And I love this period. This is the way I like to explain the period that we're in and the space that we're in, is a space of attunement, right? And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Let me just move my slides, right? So what I did is I took the Zokin, and because of the way that I break down the wave spells and cycles of 4, I took it and put it into these 5 cycles of the Zokin to just kind of make it easier, or just a different way of looking at it, to make it easier to explain, right? That this, and I think we have some new folks on, so I'm going to just explain what we're looking at here. The What you see in that little circle, if you start on the left side, that this is the calendar, right? And it's a wheel that the timekeepers spin, right? And in the small circle are so we're in the dream spell, they call them tones, right? But that's not what they were called at that time. They, the best way I think to describe it is like a function or role, right? And so that's the small circle, and then the big circle is the archetypes, right? And then there's another little piece that's not showing up here, and they spin it every day, and it's still done. There are still timekeepers that spin that wheel. They had multiple calendars, right? Just like the Dogon, there are multiple calendars here, not just one. And one of the most sacred calendars was the one that you see over to the far right, called the Zokin. It's really that wheel, or those wheels, those interlocking wheels, those are cycles within cycles, and they kept all the calendars, all the times, right? So the one that you see on the far right is a flat layout, a 2-dimensional layout that helps us to see it because of the programming that we have in this time, right? Sometimes we need to see things like that, right? But still, the dimensions are in there, right? And so that what on the far right is the 260 so-called day, in quotes, or 260 Earth rotations, right? I like to call them that, or plasmas, right? And so we are where you see all of the green, right? Most of the green, the two, and especially where you see the 2 lines, right? This is where we are, right there in the center of this calendar that was denoted as the most sacred of the calendars, right? And so when you take those and you divide it up into the various wave spells and using groupings of 4, when you start with the first 4 wave spells, that is the time of a new birth and a new being. It kind of tells you what the whole thing's gonna do. It just gives you the whole layout right away, right? Just in those first 4, from the dragon, the wizard, the hand, and the sun. It tells you, okay, come into this new paradigm, this new birth, this new way of being, and then live an enlightened life, right? Go and be happy, right? So the second one tells you how, right? The second cycle that we just completed, because then it gives you your destiny. Just like in that book, right? Where there was a prophecy about those who are incarnating as divine beings, as goddesses, as gods, as walking cosmos, full of source, resourceful, right? Uh, and in human form on earth, right? So there's a prophecy, you get your destiny, then you got to go into the state of deathlessness to see what it is, right? To really see what the truth of it is, because this is the illusionary world. So you got to go walk into the valley of the shadow of death. I know I sound like Medea, right? But anyway, it's something like that, right? And then you get resurrected in the storm, right? Self-generation. You resurrect. You come out, you crawl in as a caterpillar, and then you get wings. As you resurrect as a storm, you have changed your world. And then in that fourth cycle, you get to influence it. You get to, your will is now free, right? Based on whatever you were destined to do, it is free flowing. And then this period, right in the center of the Zokin, you get to go into attunement, right? I call this is the attuning of the force of life. And so you have, it's a very, sacred time and space. This is when you get to feel all the frequencies of the past. And like I said on the last session, make a determination. If that is still your force of life, right? Or if you have truly been resurrected, right? And the will is free, flowing and influencing now this new life force, right? So we are attuning our force of life in this cycle, and between this and the seed, the yellow seed, which we're gonna talk about those four wave spells that's in this cycle of attunement. So it's a great time to really be in resonance and remove resistance. And it's good to remove any resistance at any time, but this is a great time to allow yourself to attune with those frequencies. They are supporting you. They are supporting you to remove resistance. You have a energetic support for you to do that, right? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about where we are here. Okay, so if that cycle of attunement that I'm talking about, I call that targeted life force, right? Where starting from the serpent wave spell, right, that initiates the divine life force, right? Because we're not just talking about, even though the serpent, right, when we read the words, I always like to use the etymology of the words, right? When we read the words, it says, we with Kin 105, right, says we unify in order to survive. And again, if you look up that word, sir is above, right? Super, it's like being super vital. That's what it actually means. It does not mean sub vital, right? Sub is below. That's really what we're saying. Hey, man, I'm just out here surviving. No, not really. Because if you just out here surviving, you are super vital. You wouldn't be saying it like that. You'd be like, man, I'm out here being super vital, right? Or as Mama Tahita says, and I hear Moon Goddess says, thriving, right? Changing the words to help us to remember what it actually means. right? So we unify in order to be super vital, right? If we come here as source, remember, I always talk about what one of the ways, we have these tools that we use to help us to remember. And this is also a period of remembrance, especially with these portals, right? We have these tools, and these, if we can have triggers that take us into our past traumas and what happened to us and how we grew up and didn't grow up and who didn't do what, right? Then we can have triggers that also help us to remember who we are. Right. And so one of the things I said, well, listen, because, you always hear me talk about the trees and things like that, right? What the trees are doing. And trees always are doing tree stuff. Grass is being grass. It's not concerned about being a tree. It's grass. Bushes don't look at trees and say, man, I wish I could be a tree. No, a bush is being a bush, making berries and, hiding squirrels and, stuff living in the bush. Okay. But so who are we on this planet? Source. Ooh, I got to rhyme, y'all. Source in life force. Okay. We are source on earth. That's our species. We come from source. All the holy books tell us that's where we come from. And we're that on earth. Right? And so we have we're in this period of remembrance, of attuning with the life force of source, which is our species. And we got 10 portals in this first wave spell to help walk us through that remembrance. Right? And so let that be your trigger. Right? Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing worried about everything that didn't happen and what? Hold on. I'm a species of the Most High. I am life force of divinity on earth. That's what I'm doing here. And I got a purpose. And I'm going to attune with those frequencies. I'm going to allow that to come in so strong. And be so dominant that it's going to force my life in this direction. And guess what? I'm going to walk through all this everything in the past. And I'm going to be shown some stuff. Some stuff going to be coming up, right? How many of y'all in this in this cycle been remembering stuff? I'm like, when you when you was in the playground, when you was 5, right? It's just popping your head like, what am I thinking about that? Right? So yeah, 240. I see you. I say. So yeah, so why, but as we walk through these, we are in remembrance and attunement with the force of life, of being a species of the Creator. That's why we are super vital. And we attract divine instinct on earth. Right? That's the way. So that's our why I say targeted life force, like let's go through it, right? This after we go into these cycles, then we're going to go into the core. Right? In between that, we're going to get a chance to go into the mirror wave spell, where we're going to be able to look at the truth. Are we just up here loud talking about being the force or source on earth, right? Are we just up here loud talking in this wave spell? Or is that what's going to show up when we look in that mirror? Is that mirror what is going to reflect? What is the truth that it's going to reflect? Right? And let me tell you, if this is you, right? It sounds good when I'm saying it. But guess what don't feel good sometimes? Change. Guess what don't feel? That's what the mirror gonna show you. Oh, you was up there up there with high priest talking about the Jubilee, and and it's yeah, uh-huh. Let me show you something. Let me show you the truth about your reflection. When you were going through those past portals and that old stuff came up about your mom and them, about Craig and them, right? About whomever in them, and you tapped back into that freaking, you said, I'm gonna keep this in my force of life. You ignored the divine instinct that says, just let it pass, just watch it pass by. The mirror is gonna show you, that mirror wave spell gonna show you the truth. And you might have to make some adjustments. And in order to know, like I said, sometimes I love when Neb Taharka talks about this. He talked about, you making a change in a vacuum. You're saying, oh, I'm so divine, look at me. Right? And then as soon as there is a condition, your instinct is no longer divine. And you go down to literally survival instincts. And what do I mean by that? Danger, deficit, defeat, defense, war, conflict. That your consciousness goes right there. Fear. Species of source have divine instinct. They remember when a condition comes up that they got. Just like I said, the bush and the tree and grass and flowers. They are all themselves all the time. So not being able to have the type of relationship you want does not put you in fear mode or deficit or defeat. It says, you know how they say, okay, what would Jesus do, right? What would you do, right? What would the serpent do? The red serpent. What are the divine instincts to that? How do I just be in resonance and just magnetize it? You're on a, if you want to be in I wanted to use, I got so many thoughts going in my head at one time. You are on a collision course, I'll say it that way, with your destiny and those who are destined to commune with you. You remember that. That's a divine instinct. You say, well, let me sit back. Well, maybe this ain't working out, but I'm source on earth. And there are several others who have identified themselves that way. They remember that. And those are the ones that I'm going to connect with. What about money? I don't have enough money for all of these things. Well, perhaps the so-called lack of money has built up a power, an ability. Because remember, ability and power means you have the ability. That this whole time when you was looking at your pockets and seeing that you didn't have enough, but somehow, subliminally, everything worked out. And you decided when you didn't have that, you said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep remembering who I am. And eventually this is going to go away. This is going to work out. I'm going to get it. You were building up your divine muscle. with your relationship problems, with your money problems, with your health problems, and they don't feel good. It feels like you don't have power and ability. It feels like you not source. Because the thing that we have in our mind is that if you are source on earth, then it's a if then statement. If I'm source on earth, then I'm not gonna have no problems. Now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go and go biblical, right? You know, even though I don't remember all the verses, but I remember the story, right? Don't give me the quote and stuff. I'll be making up stuff, but let's use Jesus. Didn't he have some problems? Was everything pleasant? Right? He had to go through some stuff. In every story, when Source is remembering themselves, even though they may know it, like he knew it when he was little, right? He was like, you know, like I love the Avatar cartoon, Korra, right? Korra in that cartoon, you know, she came out, she was bending all of the elements and was like, "Hey, I'm the Avatar. Deal with it." When she was little, but she had to go through some things. You have to build your abilities. Just because you know something, don't mean you got experience with it. Doesn't mean that you have the power, the authority, and the ability to implement it at all times. That, when I say resistance, sometimes that's part of our resistance, right? We don't know how to humble ourselves and actually build the skill, build the ability. We already know we're source. We already know we come from the divine. We already know. Now we have to implement that on earth. And there is a process to that. There is a skill set that needs to be built. Right? I remember talking about in that cartoon Avatar with Korra. I remember watching that, and you know, yeah, she had all those skills. She knew it when she was young or whatever. And there was this one episode where what was that guy? He was an airbender, but he went to the top frequency, or the most efficient frequency. I don't like to use high and low and top and bottom, but the highest frequency of being an airbender, and he whooped her ass. And you know, and it was sunny. I was sitting there watching, and I said, why every time she come out, she just be using one? I said, why don't she just come out with all her stuff at one time and just shut it down? Right? He whooped her ass. She had to go through therapy, all kinds of stuff. And it feel like that sometimes, right? We have experienced that all the time, knowing that she's an avatar, and she, you know what I'm saying, she can go into the avatar mode and, you know, call in all of the past avatars. What He whooped her ass because he knew something that she didn't. He built up his power. He built up his ability. He strengthened his force of life. And again, sometimes in order to do that, you got to go through some things. Right? It's not always pretty. So when you look in that mirror, right? I told you, I'm going back. I heard y'all, right? I'm going back. Y'all know how I do. I'm the wind, right? I'm going to go all the way over there. But I remember my space. I remember I was talking about the mirror wave spell. Right? So So yeah, so when you gain that mirror wave spell, it's going to reflect that and show you the truth, right? And then when we're able to do that, then we can transform our magic, right? Look, we're able to use our magic. I love when we go into the monkey wave spell, right? Because we can use the magic of the force of life that we have. Like I always say, in this physical form, yeah, people are always, kind of downtrodden as being in the physical form. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. Because guess what? I need to use this. That's how I got here for another cycle. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm ascending. I'm going to use everything I got. This is not my lower form. It's my slower form. As above, so below. It's just that here it's slower. So I have to build my ability, my power, my authority on earth. And I've been doing them spiritual push-ups for a while, and I got more to go. Shoot, I still can't make it all the way around the track. Oh man, that's just, but it's exciting. It's exciting to be able to use this magic. See, every time we go through this cycle, I know a few of y'all have been around, a few 4, 5, 260 spins. And when we get into this transformation of life force, being able to be magical and play with it, you can play with the life force of a divine being when you don't have resistance to it. A lot of us have resistance to just being in the physical or having the consciousness of us physically. There's a lot of people who have resistance to that. I don't know why I came here. I hear, because I talk to people daily, I have some people, oh yeah, this is the dumb dimension, or they, calling it all kinds of things. And I said, listen, if I were you, you only about 32, 35, saying that 40. Shit. You're going to have a hard time in this dimension. You're going to have a hard time. I say line yourself up with another. Here's how we play. How about either you keep calling this dimension something that you have to get out of, and eventually you'll take yourself out of it, or because of your resistance, you're going to keep calling in everything that you don't like about it. Well, the people here are like this, and the people here are like that. Well, guess what? Guess who one of the people? You. You're one of the people. You're one of the people that just by spreading that energy, the earth ain't shit, the physical ain't shit, this ain't this. How about you? If you are source, if you are undivided and you are whole, then it's what you are. It's all of you. Right? So now play around with it and make it the shit for you. Make your expression and your experience. You can do that. You get to decide. You get to choose. Instead of saying it ain't shit, like I said, make it the shit. Build your divine skill here. because it's already on you, right? You are already a divine being on earth, be it in every space, everywhere, every existence, in your dreams. I say it all the time. In your dreams, always, right? Play around with it. So that's the monkey wave spell. Then we're going to go into the seed wave spell, right? Where we're going to now see what we have blossomed, see our harvest, where we have put our awareness this whole time, and projected into them future portals. Right? The targeting word. This is definitely, like I said, the that wave spell. This is the last period of attunement before we evolve. Right? And it's going to show you where you have blossomed. Right? I say. All right. So let's go. So we are here at Kin 109, the red overtone moon. It says we empower in order to purify, commanding flow. We seal the process of universal water with the overtone tone of radiance, and we're guided by the power of navigation. And we are galactic activations, portals of purity, flow, universal water, the overtone tone of radiance, and the power of navigation enter us. So let's talk about it. Y'all all right? Oh my God. Okay. I got to say that sometime. Y'all all right? Give me something in the chat. Right? Oh, okay. All right. So, all right. So we're here in the red overtone moon. And so the moon, as we heard Moon Goddess talk about it when she did the oracle reading, right? The moon is the healer, right? You got your seatbelt on. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna see. Let's see what we do. All right. Let's see what the speaking tube got to say today, right? All right. So we started here, right? We kicked this off with Kin 105. And I talked about this a little earlier, right? Where we became one with being super vital, attracting divine instincts. Why? Because we are source on earth. We came here to do something, right? I like to say in this time period and what we're looking at in this time period, that we came here to shift this whole consciousness into a frequency in which we are now able to connect and experience a more galactic, a more cosmic consciousness, so that we can connect with other beings who are able to operate in all of the various spaces of the third dimension. I always say, we think, again, like I always question the people that keep putting down 3D. I don't think you really experienced the whole 3D. I think we've been mostly two-dimensional, up, down, left, right, side to side, good, bad, right? And not the depth, because that's the connecting. That's the part that starts to, when you're able to go into all three dimensions, that third one is the one that then bridges to the fourth dimension. And then when you are able to go into all fourth dimensions, it's going to bridge you into fifth dimension, and so on and so forth, and again and over and over. Right? That's just my perspective. So when as we are building up our abilities, right? Because we have to recognize them again. We got to remember them again in this slower dimension. We got to remember how to be source on earth. It's slowed down. That's all. That's why it hurts. But that's also why it feels good too. That's also why, you know what I'm saying? It's not just one way. It hurts. Oh, it feels good too. And sometimes it's neutral. And sometimes it's, it's sublime. Sometimes it's, there are all these different experiences. That's why we came to feel source. We came to feel consciousness. And then now take it to the next level. That's my perspective, right? So we started here with that first one, that serpent. And then, of course, every time we go into life force, we have to see the truth about this force of life. So then death comes in and shows us. But we aren't worried about death. It's just a surrendering. It's just a releasing resistance, because we immortal anyway, right? So Ken 106 then comes in and polarizes this force of life, right? Let's see the truth about it. Let's hold your breath, polarize, and then see what you can think about when you are under that breath of deathlessness, and then stabilize your opportunities, the opportunities to see the force of life, your divine instincts. Let me walk you through this portal of the past. Oh, you see that right there? Is that going to trigger you? You sure? And it's my Baba Juanita voice. You sure? No. Okay, no. What about this over here? No. What about what didn't happen to you? What about what was supposed to happen to you? You supposed to be a superstar. You were supposed to be a star athlete. You supposed to be a supermodel. And none of that happened. You still holding on to that, or you going to let that go? And look at these opportunities for you to be super vital. And you say, I'm going to go with these opportunities for me to be super vital. They say, all right, well, let's go. Let's activate that then, right? And that's the blue hand, the avatar. Let's activate it in our avatar as source on earth and bond with it. Bond with being whole. Let's do it. Right? Then the star comes in. That's our sister Rachel, right? Ken 108. And says, yes, and let's be true to form. We are an artist in this. We are an artist in being source on earth. It's an art to this, and we make it look good. Right? Let's define this beauty and elegance that we're going to walk in. And we can literally measure it by how we are to being. And these are portals, right? So as we keep going through these past portals, what are we going and collecting things from the past that no longer serve us? Or are we saying, you know what? When I was training to be a star athlete, you know what I had? I had confidence. I had endurance. I had persistence. I think I'm gonna sand coat for that. Into always remembering that I'm source on earth. Oh, when I was gonna be a supermodel, you know what I had? I had confidence. I had persistence. I had a plan. and I knew how to coordinate things a certain kind of way, I'm going to take that. I'm going to bring that into this existence, to always remember that is my divine instinct. It's just got upgraded, right? So now when we're on 109, right? Now we are in power. We empower, right? What is it empower? We are in power, right? We are in our ability. Power breaks down to ability and having authority in that ability. That means it can be implemented. It's not potential energy, it's kinetic, right? We are in power to be pure. Pure means whole. It means to be clean too, but it doesn't mean to unravel something. It means to be pure. Like what they call a pure diamond is not really pure. It's been, right? It just means you take it and you clean it off. That's pure. It just, once you clean, but the whole, like let's take sugar cane, right? Or the whole element of a diamond. It got what is it? I forget what's on top of a diamond. Is it coal? Right? The diamond is not the pure. It's refined after, or what they call refined. It's chopped away. That's not pure. Sugar cane. I'll use that because I know more about that, right? The element. Sugar, especially what we see, the white sugar, is not pure. That it is impure. It has removed everything, right? What's pure is the cane. And if you're going to clean it off, remove the dirt and debris from it, it's pure. Just like that. Right? When we start processing it, that it becomes something else. So, as source, how are we, as source on earth, how are we pure? We remove the artificial programming, the artificial consciousness, the consciousness that says that we always are in danger. We're at war. We've been defeated. We're in their deficit. Somebody's always against us. They always trying to do something. People don't want to see you do this. And people like, listen to the language. When are we going to shift? We shift when we shift. Right? And the best way to shift is shifting you. Change your language. Change the way that you change the reflection that you have of this world. Right? That's what I just talked about when I went through those wave spells, right? Change your reflection. Right? It's not always, you're not always responding, right? Being a re-sponsor. Be the sponsor. If we start to eliminate this artificial thinking, this artificial consciousness, and just tap into whole consciousness, pure consciousness that does not have an artificial program on it. And generally speaking, in this time, the artificial programming starts with being in conflict, starts with being in war, keeps us thinking linearly and two-dimensionally. What do I mean? I said it before. Up, down, left, right, good, bad. right? No, where's the third dimension? Where is the neutrality? Where's the observer? That's how you are in power to be pure, and you stay that way because that's your instinct. That's the instinct of the divine ones from source on earth, right? So we're empowered to be pure co-man, even though, anyway, let me stop. But a commanding flow, I ain't gonna go there. Oh, okay, I see a question in here. Give me 1 second, right? Commanding the flow of the force of life. Who are we in cohesion with? Ourselves, our whole being whole, undivided, the whole thing, source, completely unified. Right? Okay, so what's the question? How would you apply that to sensing gatekeeping energy? So that the way that I would do it is I would just make a decision that I'm always in spaces where energy is open, knowledge is open and free, right? There is not one person, place, or thing who, with what it is that you have come here to know and receive, that can stand in the way of that. And so you determine that you're not going to be in those places. You're going to get what you need to get, be where you need to be, experience what you need to experience. And here's another way to look at that. If that is there, then you have to, again, if we just practice, and I'm saying this to myself because this is the process that I've been working through for many years, right? Is keeping all of the energy on me, even when I'm experiencing something by another person, place, or thing. So I also asked the question of, okay, so why did I magnetize this? Right? Why is this coming to me like this? What am I gatekeeper? Do I operate like that? Because why do I keep running into this? What is this showing me? Or is there something that I may not be ready for yet? And so I showed up this way because we are all reflecting each other. And it's a thing. Yep. So, all right. So commanding the flow. Ashe, give thanks for that question. All right. So commanding the flow. So we're in a frequency where we are commanding the flow with source, which is us, with our whole selves, with our undivided being. So we can be pure, free of dirt and impurities, artificial, free of thinking of things in that old way of conflict, of deficit, defeat, danger, fear, right? Those are impurities. Notice how most of the time, children, a lot of times, they come out, they ain't afraid of anything. A lot of them, initially, until they might hear certain sounds that they don't like or whatever. But, they'll lick a bear. Like, hey, hi, right? It's not scary. That's pure. Until we get taught what we need to be afraid of. right? What and what we need to fear, or what is against us. That's a program. That is not pure. What's pure is divine instinct. All right, so let's go. Let me see. All right. We seal the process of universal order. So we initiate the system of universal flow. So process, a procession, right? It's a and when things are following a process, there are instructions. There is a flow to universal water, right? When we are pure, we can just flow unobstructed, unencumbered. We know that there are artificial programs. We know that there is an artificial consciousness, right? But we're operating in universal flow because we have a pure consciousness. We are on pure divine instinct, right? So we're going to allow that system to flow through everything, right? What do they say about water? It can kill or heal, right? It could be a nice flowing stream or a tsunami. So, however, and we may experience this, however it needs to flow for us, that's what it's going to be. If we got a whole bunch of stuff from the past that need to go, tsunami. If it is within us, then that we just need to have a steady stream, then it's a steady stream. It's a universal flow. It is the ebb and flow with how you operate within the universe on Earth. It's a collaboration with all of the universal forces, right? With the tone of radiance, right? Including all of the energies of light, right? All of the energy of the ancestors, all of the energy of the divine entities that are supporting your existence. All of it is a part of that universal flow. And it's a radiance that happens because we are not in resistance. We're unencumbered. We're going to let this be. Right? I just heard this little light of mine, right? This little light of mine. I ain't going to sing. We're not going to do that today, right? I did, but this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, right? And I love it when you hear somebody who, like I like when they have like the little girls singing that, and then they can sing, they like this little light of mine, and they be like, let it shine. They be like, woo! Like, I be thinking, I'm sorry, I'm tapping into my inner priestess of Bibla, how she sings. Oh my God. So, but yes, that's what it is. We're going to let it shine. Unencumbered, universal flow, right? Guided by the power of navigation so that we can evolve. What is navigation? That's the red earth, right? And we know when we get to the red earth, it's go time. Ain't no questions. It said, wait a minute. We just walked through this whole thing, right? So I'm about to go. I think we need a tsunami today, right? of clearing out all of this stuff. So I'm going to go do a tsunami. But it might even say, you know what? We just need a nice little gentle stream, right? Roll your boat gently down the stream. We're going to do that too. But whatever it is, I'm navigating. I already know how to synchronize this. We already asked all the questions we need to ask. We already realized what divine instincts are, right? That's what we're going to do, right? And we're led to allow evolution to navigate. We just say, all right, go ahead. Go on, do your thing. Right? Take me through to this portal. Right? So real quick, let's just take a look at here. How the red moon does what it does. It channels abundance. Right? So that's why it's a universal flow. That's why I said it can be a tsunami or it can be a gentle stream. Whatever is needed for that purification. Right? The mind of the red moon, right? Because it's processing things. It's showing the system of how to be in universal flow. It thinks in being an energetic catalyst for change. I just said it. Tsunami or stream. Whatever's necessary to change and be pure. Whatever gets that dirt off your shoulder, right? Whatever that is. That's what we're going to do. The storm going to come in, right? That's the mental body, as we heard Moon Goddess talk about, right? And because that the storm is in the mental body, the storm is one of the 4 archetypes that sit in the seat. It's not the seat, but sit in the court of the creator. What have I been talking about all this time? Who are we? Where do we come from? Source. Right? And those 4 archetypes that sit in that court, this is sacred to them. They protect that which is sacred. And they say, listen, if you're going to be pure, if you're going to be a sugar cane, you ain't no dang refined sugar. You are the sugar cane, the whole thing. And that's what you're going to be. Not the stripped down version of yourself with don't have all the vitamins and minerals. You need B12. Over here acting like you came out of a lab. No, you don't. You got to be pure. And we're not going nowhere until that happens. That's the mind of the moon, the red moon, right? There will be no universal flow until you realize that you are source on earth. And that's how you showing up, right? And then the way that it moves, it say, okay, you good, you got it, you got all your vitamins and minerals, you hold B12 and all of that stuff. You ain't no stripped down version. Okay, great. Right? Now let's influence the flow by having free dominion of the will. That is how it moves. That's how the red moon moves. And it's a process too, right? Because it's the yellow human. Yellow human is free will, free dominion of the will. So, all right, let's say, okay, women, let's get this straight. This is what we doing on 109, right? Okay. You said you want a tsunami of change. That's what you said? You sure? Because when I start talking to my emotional body and get things moving, and I release resistance, and I turn this over to this yellow human, and y'all know them yellow humans, right? The free dominion of the will. And it gets to influencing this flow. You sure that's what you want? Yep. Change everything. I'm done. I need a new. Okay. All right. When that happens, right? I want you to stand in that, right? In that physical body with love and loyalty. Can you do that? Or you going to go back and be refined sugar? Can you love and stay loyal? Right? Are you going to stand on the mound of Ma'at? right? And so that's what's going to show up, right? So here we go. Here's the question. Uh-oh. That was anticlimactic. Okay. Have you been forced to heal, right? Hopefully through this session, right? Or at least you got a whole lot to think about, right? So y'all know I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. So it definitely has been my honor and my pleasure. I love you. I have fun. I can do this again tomorrow, right? So it definitely has been my honor and my pleasure. I love y'all. And I will see y'all on the next one. Hotep.
Gratitude, HP. Amazing session as always. And for those of you that are going to join us next heptad, we'll see you then. Peace.
Immortal. Yeah. Came out the portal, immortal into a human body. I've been existing way before the earth had Anunnakis. Intergalactical battles, intergalactical travels, infinitely going through stars. The universe will unravel all of its secrets, peep it. I'm starting to leak it. Time for truth is coming 100, it's time to seek it. Expanding my perception through the spectrum of light. I'm going in with spectrum and the shit's out of sight. We indigo children, yeah, we building frequencies through the ceiling. Penetrating through reality, a marvelous feeling. Regardless, we're healing these humans that be claiming we demonic. The resonance goes over their heads, we super cosmic. Your logic is ignorance mixed with fear in your thinking. My pineal gland is flooding, son, that shit don't be blinking. Sinking into your subconscious like a song with no words. The way I come up with these symbols of letters is absurd. Hey yo, my rhymes are like angelic beings. The shit is freeing, so pure that if you were born blind, I'll have you seeing. Breathing in a multi-dimensional light so captivating. Double helix is nonsense, so what I'm activating. Feel the power from within, seeping right through my skin. From the earth into my feet as it goes up to my chin. It got me grinning, rotation like spirals, my music spinning. I told you that I don't be playing, still I'm always winning. Fibonacci to the haters, curve them right to the side. They don't understand the energy, it comes from inside. So inside is what I master, used to be a disaster. Now I'm gladly elevating to a whole new chapter. Yeah, I'm giving birth to a whole new style. I incarnated through New York, yeah, I rep Long Island. Don't get it twisted though, I'm truly repping this earth. I came to free all these humans and show you all what you're worth. Immortal. Yeah, raising your frequencies one soul at a time. As I pass this mic to my boy Spectrum, yo Spectrum, light that up, kid.
They tried to tell me I'm mortal, I told them I was immortal. They asked me what makes me different, I asked them what makes you normal. I just followed my morals and I unfollowed the formal. Hopped on a track with crews, now we straight cruising through portals. I download the Metatron, I'm reversing it till I'm dead and gone. If you think I'm dope, then you said it wrong. Not trying to flex, but I'm hella strong. Mine did things you never seen. When I say mine, you know what I mean. I'm the most when I'm in my mode, and y'all average is like the mean. I really didn't mean to go intervene. I'm the middleman, chilling in between. You should do the math, we ain't keeping score. But I just hit a 3.14. I cook it up, make it look easy as pie. I'm moving in silence and seeing the sign. I am the G. If you remove me, all you gon' see is your sins. This is a big game of sins. The simulation is breaking again. I'm taking control, creating my soul. And if the truth fits, I'm breaking it in. Breaking it. All I really know is that I'll never know. I've been here for forever, don't know when to go. I think that indicates that I'm an indigo. In that case, I'm in the go. Green light, my heart, chakra booming. Solar plexus, Lexus zooming. You assuming that I'm human. I'm just being what you doing. I've been teaching teachers frequently. It's apparent I'm a parent when it comes to raising frequencies. The way I'm living life, I haven't rest in peace recently. Immortal with my technique, but my ego dying easily. Death is teasing me by leaving me with DMT. Now it seems to me that everything I see is seeing me. Life is just an infinite circle with a twist. I used to wanna be like them, now they do not exist.
Immortal.